Hello there, back again. This is just going to look at a couple of films here. Now, this is concerning the last few videos that I made, where I've made the claim that witches and Freemasons control the music industry and the film and television industry. And they put messages in the films and the songs to send to each other. And they predict the future because they make the future. They make plans for the future and then they have power to carry them out. And this is just to show some evidence that it's in fact true, what I'm saying. That they do send messages. So we're going to look at a couple of films, and the first one is Back to the Future. Now obviously we've got the future being referenced. Now this is a trilogy of films. There's a lot of stuff in here, and other people have talked about this. So you should go and watch their videos and things if you want more information about it. But we're just going to look at just a few things from this film concerning this, which is, you'll notice we've got the Twin Pines Mall here. If you flip that upside down, we have 9/11. Yeah. And here. Now, obviously this has to do with Twin Towers on the date 9/11, September the 11th. And then we also have twins here with 11/9. Twin clocks are shown, but this one is Einstein's clock. Doc and Marty are Americans, but so they say 9/11, but Einstein is European, so they say 11/9. Yeah. So this is Einstein's clock, and again, notice it's twins. So, what happens? Obviously, we're talking about the Twin Towers, yeah? And this is what it looks like before. But in the film, we see the Twin Pines change because Marty goes back in time and crashes into one of the twins. So when he gets back, he's changed the world. He's entered a new world where there's only one pine now. And of course, this is what it looks like now. There's only one tower now. They built a new one. The two were destroyed and then they built a new one, which looks a bit like a pine, actually. So yeah. Of course, once again he goes back. He does the same thing again. And once again, we see the 9 and the 11 made out of fire, And of course, he's about to crash into this building, but he doesn't. He crashes into the twin of it in the future, which is this one. Now, in their New World Order, the man is God. And of course, the Assembly of Christ won't go for that. They stand in the way of that. So the Assembly of Christ must be destroyed. Yeah. So this tells the story of Marty creating a new world. Like he leaves the old world at the start of his journey, and at the end of his journey, he enters into the New World Order, whereupon he must destroy the Assembly of Christ. And of course, the date is 9/11, or 11/9 in Europe. September the 11th. Yeah. So next we're going to look at this film then. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Now this one, Back to the Future, was made in 1985. This one was 1968, so way back then, as I said, like 30 or 40 years in advance, they start telling you what's going to happen, or they tell each other. And yeah, I mean, people have noticed the pattern in the Back to the Future trilogy, but they don't seem to have noticed it in this one, so I thought I'd point it out. So this was made in 1968, and this film is absolutely packed full of imagery, symbolic imagery, but we're not going to go into all that. We're only going to look at the September the 11th references. So again, the film begins with a lot of symbology, but then we get to this. The proper story begins here, and it features this great spinning wheel in space. Now, the great spinning wheel in space is the Zodiac. So remember, this has got something to do with the Zodiac. Yep. And the story is they find this monolith standing on the moon. Yeah. So there's a monolith on the moon, which is very much like a building. Yeah? And then they find a second monolith next to Jupiter. And these two monoliths, though one's a lot bigger than the other, they are, in all other respects, absolutely identical. So these are twin monoliths. Yeah? One is stood on the moon and the other is next to Jupiter. And just as Marty crashed into the twin pine, the main character in this film, Dave Bowman, flies directly into the twin monolith. And what happens when he flies into it is he starts speeding up. And he goes faster and faster until he enters hyperspace. So he's travelling at great speed. Yeah? So this tells people that when this great event happens, it's the journey to the final destination, which is the New World Order, is going to speed up very, very fast now. And of course, he reaches the destination, he reaches the New World. So he travels from his old world order, to this New World Order that's where he lives in luxury now. Yeah. Oh, of course, concerning Marty destroying the Assembly of Christ, Marty is a McFly, and the devil is called Baal Zebub, which means Lord of Flies. So Marty McFly's Lord is the devil. Yeah. So back to this. So he reaches the New World Order. Now he ages quite a bit after he flies into the twin. He ages considerably, but it's within his own lifetime when he gets there. So the final destination is within his own lifetime. So this is a message to say that when the great event happens, the final destination of the New World Order will be within the lifetime of those who see it. So this is a message of hope for them that their New World Order is coming. Now, of course, the enemy that Dave Bowman must defeat. Oh yeah, let's just before we do that, let's see, how does this relate to 9/11? Well, as you remember we were talking about a great spinning wheel in space, which is the Zodiac. Yeah. And we had one twin was stood on the moon, the other twin was next to Jupiter. And this is the year 2001 that this takes place. And in 2001, obviously the twins are Gemini, yeah, in the Zodiac. And in 2001, the moon and Jupiter are in this position on September the 11th. So one of the twins is found stood on the moon, and the other one is next to Jupiter on September the 11th of that year. Yeah. So one on the moon, the other next to Jupiter, points to the exact date, September the 11th, and the year, of course, is 2001. So once again, it points to the same date, the same thing, crashing into the twin. And of course, this speeds up the agenda and allows the New World Order to come into being within the lifetime of those who see it, from 2001. Yeah. Now, of course, once again, the great enemy who must be defeated is Hal. H-A-L, or Ha-El, which is the God in Hebrew. And Hebrew's written right to left. It's He, Aleph, Lamed, H-A-L. And of course, Hal has all the power. Like, their whole world is this spacecraft that they're living on, and Hal completely controls it. Like, he has all the power to do everything, and he has the power over life and death. And he kills the crew because he opposes their mission that they're on and tries to sabotage it. And of course, his symbol, what he looks like, is the sun. He looks like the sun, which is a symbol of God. So in every way, Hal, or Ha-El, represents the God. And of course, he can't be destroyed, so he must be shut down instead. His voice must be silenced, and all his influence that he has to do anything must be shut down, which is, of course, by getting rid of the assembly of Christ, who oppose all these things. And of course, at the end of the story, after getting rid of the influence of Hal, he then becomes a god himself, looking down upon the earth. So as we see, once again, the enemy is always God, Ha-El, and the assembly of Christ. And the plan was to, long ago, the plan was to, on 9/11, 2001, destroy the Twin Towers. And that was known for a long time. Now, of course, you could say, oh, this is coincidence, but once again, that's a lot of coincidences, isn't it? I mean, it's been everywhere, you know. I mean, The Simpsons are pretty famous for predicting the future, and of course, this is just a few months before the event, you know. I mean, don't you think that's a bit strange that there's a picture of a burning building with "coming soon" written on it? You know, that's very, very strange and out of place. A very unusual thing then to have in a children's cartoon, you know. So, yeah. I mean, there you go. So, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, it's absolutely full of imagery, but this is the main message. You know, this is how the date is pointed out by the twin being found on the moon, the other one next to Jupiter. That's how the date is displayed. So there you go. I mean, you can pay attention to all these coincidences or you can ignore them if you want. You know, it's up to you. But I pay attention to coincidences.